Welcome to Croxton Family Racing. I am your host, Adam Croxton. This is the League of Champions, 68 teams and over 300 cars. First up today is Marvel and DC versus the British are coming out of the Coastal Division in the West. We got Venom, the Subaru WRX STI for the Marvel and DC. Turn on the loop and a crash. No points for him. Next up is the Aston Martin 1963 D85 for the British are coming. Nice and clean through the loop. And we have a rim shot. Jumps out onto the floor. No extra point. 3 for completion, though. Got the classic TV series Batmobile. Another Marvel car. Or DC in this case. Bucket 2. 5 points. Next up, the British are Cummings McLaren Speedtail. Fails the jump, no points. Next up is the dark green Batmobile for Marvel and DC. Nice and smooth. Makes it into bucket 2, 5 points. Marvel and DC are out in front right now. The British are coming are going to have to make a comeback with the 2018 Pink Bentley Continental GT3. And he does not do it. No points for them. Marvel and DC can only do better now. Scarlet Witch. Nice and clean. A little stutter out of the gate. Bucket 1. 4 points. Nice add of points to their team. Next off for Marvel and DC is the 49 Merc Batgirl. No points. Fails the jump. You know, some of these cars made it in the initial rounds that are failing on this one and done. They're just succumbing to the pressure. Muscle-bound Robin also fails, even though he made it originally. We've got Vision up. See if he can make it. Nope. Bounce off. No points for him either. Ms. Marvel's up next. Nice odd shape to her. Ooh, a little jump there off the kickstart. Doesn't even make the jump. No points for her. Did not finish. And the TV series Batmobile. Flipped like a pancake. And served with 0 points. See where everybody finished up. We see the Batmobile. We see Scarlet Witch. I see the Aston Martin in there. And the cars that made it to the jump. And those that didn't even touch the launcher. Marvel and DC win with 14 over the British are Cummings 3. The British are Coming are eliminated. Next up is Karts and Star Wars Fandom. Starting for the Karts is B-Dasher Yoshi. Made it the first time in seeding. And into bucket 2. 5 points for his team. Good start to the Karts. Next up is pilot Luke Skywalker for the Star Wars Fandom. Let's see if he can drive as well as he flies. He makes it into bucket 2, and we've got a tie on our hands. Luke and Yoshi both with 5 points. Standard Kart Mario is up. That'll be another set of 5 points. Karts. Mario holding his own. Let's see if Luke's father, Darth Vader, can make the same amount of points. Oh, and he takes a seat in the back. No points. And next up, we have Standard Kart Bowser for the Karts. Launched. Oh, he sticks in the launcher on the jump. No points for him. Apparently, he's going to need to go on a diet if he wants to finish this race. And next up is Jedi Luke Skywalker. And he does not use the Force. 0 points for him. Next up is Kick Kart for the Karts. He's got a real weird shape to him. And it looks like he's getting stuck in the launcher. And 0 points for him. Star Wars Fandom needs some points, so maybe the Millennium Falcon can fly his way to victory. Nope, he's better at the Kessel Run. 0 points for him as well. And next up is Jabba the Hutt for the Star Wars Fandom. Looking pretty girthy. And he just love taps that little launcher. He does not get launched. And a DNF for him. Last chance for the Star Wars Fandom, the X-Wing. Let's see if he can fly through these trenches. And he doesn't even make the launch. Well, it doesn't look good for the Star Wars fandom. Karts are moving on. Just pilot Luke Skywalker, Mario, and Yoshi in Bucket 2. Let's see where everybody else finished. Karts with a victory, 10-5 over the Star Wars fandom. Star Wars fandom eliminated. Next up is the Star Wars Concepts versus Engine Exposure. First up for the Star Wars Concepts is the Star Wars Prototype H-24. Oh, he touches the launcher. Late click, but no launch. 0 points for him. Not good for the lead racer. That's usually their best one going into these rounds. The Nitro Door Slammer makes it. Bucket 2. Nice little bounce around for added effect. 5 points. A nice lead off for his team. Next up is the Star Wars Concept Star Wars Impavito 1. Looks like he makes the jump. Oh, but he gets trapped in jail. No points. Next up for Engine Exposure is Black Roger Dodger 2.0. Nice and smooth through the track. Oh, but he hits off the rim. No extra points. 3 for completion. Next one up is Star Wars Concepts Star Wars Fast Feline. Into the loop and out of the loop. Just like that. 0 points. Next up is the Masters of the Universe Cannonade from Engine Exposure. He's into the jump and dumps out at the very last minute. What an upset. 0 points. Let's see if the Star Wars Scorcher can get any points for his team. So far they're at 0. Doesn't even touch the launcher. It's not looking good for the Star Wars Concepts. Another Engine Exposure. 70 Dodge Charger RT. Oh, he makes it through clean. Bucket 2, he didn't make it during the seeding rounds. Nicely done. 5 points, unexpected at this part in the teams. Star Wars Sinistra for the Concepts. Makes the launch, but falls out of the loop. 0 points. Next up for Engine Exposure, GRX 56 Fusion Busta. We have a missing video file, so our apologies for that. He did make it up through the loop, but then fell flat on his head. 0 points. And for the Star Wars Concepts, we have the Star Wars Enforcer. His tires are really wide. Oh, and he goes off track, off the launch. No good, 0 points. The Silhouette 2 up next for Engine Exposure. Well, he taps the launcher, but doesn't get launched. No points. Engine Exposure is looking real good. Next up for them is the White Drift King. He didn't make it in the seeding rounds, but he does here. Bucket 2, 5 points for his team. Nicely done. Looks like it's going to be an overwhelming victory for Engine Exposure today. Let's see if Green Drift King can match his White Drift King counterpart. He does not. He didn't even make it around the curve. Maybe he stopped and decided he didn't want the chance of falling flat on his face. Roger Dodger way up there, but not in any bucket. The Impavito there by the jail. And look at the Star Wars Enforcer way back here. Didn't even make it down the ramp. Engine Exposure, overwhelming 18-0 shutout over the Star Wars Concepts. Star Wars Concepts eliminated. Next up is Corvettes versus Spoiler Alert. First up is the Red Corvette Grand Sport Roadster for the Corvettes. He scored a perfect score in the seeding rounds. He makes it again. Bucket 2, 5 points. Nice start off for his team. And the next one up is the Spoiler Alert's Green Impavito 1. Let's see if he can score for his team. Clean into Bucket 2. Took a right approach. Wonder if that was a certain strategy for him. Next up for the Corvettes is the 19 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 convertible. And he makes it into Bucket 2. 5 points. Still a tie between these two. Next up is Fast Fish for the Spoiler Alert. Keep pace to keep his team in it. Smooth through, lands at the back of Bucket 2, almost hitting the rim and moving forward to those further buckets. Keeping the tie going with these two teams. Next up is the Green Grand Sport Roadster for the Corvettes. And he does not make it through the jump, so not all the Grand Sport Roadsters are created equally for the Corvettes. Next up for Spoiler Alert, Snow Day Renault Sport RS01. And he gets bounced out of the loop as well. Keeping the tie going. Next up is the 11 Corvette Grand Sport. And he does not make it. 0 points for him. We're still tied. Next up for Spoiler Alert, Davancinator. And he doesn't make it through the launch. Loses it out. 0 points. Next up, we have the Corvette C6 convertible. Makes it to the loop. Flies out. 0 points. Up next, for spoiler alert, Power Rage. He did not make it in the seating, but he does make it here. Bucket 2, 5 points. Clutch for his team, putting them in the lead. Now we have the last chance for the Corvettes to tie with the 57 Chevrolet Corvette. He did not make it during the seating. Despite being the worst on the Corvette team in the seeding rounds, he pulls it out with a 5-point finish to tie it up. And with that, the Red Impavito 1 for spoiler alert has a chance to win the match. But he cannot. Finishes short of the launcher. Alright, and with that, we have a tie leading all the way back. You can see all the cars lined up there. The one outlier is the Red Impavito spoiler alert, and it has cost its team the match. The tiebreak goes to the Corvettes, who finished further. As we take a look at our brackets, we're looking at the Western Division here. Coastal, Marvel, and DC move on over the British are coming. Moving to our Eastern bracket, the Swamp Division. Star Wars Concepts eliminated. Engine Exposure moves on. And as we take a look at our Southern Beach Division, we see that the Corvettes eke out a victory. First upset of the tournament. And finally, the Northern bracket. We see the Karts up there in the Plains Division. They have taken it and will face the winner of the first and 32-seeded team. More to come. Stay with us. And as the round continues, we thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like our channel. Signing off from Croxton Family Racing. We'll be back in another week.